Okay, everybody, welcome back. This is Brian Grubb again here down in the seed lab. So I wanted to talk about the next step of what I was working on in terms of 24-hour soak or 48-hour soak of seed to get that internal moisture content up. And then I will begin stratifying that seed or soaking that seed depending on what my needs are. Again, on my stratification bag, Ziplocs work just fine. ECPU, Echinacea purpurea. And then I'll actually put today's date on there as well in 48-hour soak that's already been completed. And then I may use another acronym that I often use, CS, for cold strat. And that will represent today's date for cold stratification treatments. At this point, this seed has been sitting out for about an hour and is now surface dried, which I like to do for pre-germination treatments or for pre-stratification treatments, is get that seed completely surface dried. And so again, it's the internal moisture content of the seed that I want to 35%. I'm not concerned about the seed coat moisture. In fact, I want that as dry as I can so I don't get any storage molds in stratification. And I will do what's called naked stratification of this seed, put it in the Ziploc, and I'll probably do a 30-day. And as you know, Echinacea can also be 30-day cold strat. Echinacea can also just be sown fresh without cold stratification, but sometimes I will, or I'll compare results, and that's exactly what I'm going to do with this Aquilegia canadensis seed. Again, surface dried, AQCA 217-822, cold strat, and 48-hour soak. Put that on the bag, and I'll also add all of this information into my seed journal for both of these seed lots, and record the information about what I'm doing with this seed in my journal so I can track it in the germination room. So what I'll do with this seed at this point, this has been 48-hour soak, Aquilegia canadensis, completely surface dried. You can see how it just flows right off of the paper towel. It does have some static conditions associated with it that doesn't really seem to affect, in my opinion, the stratification. Sometimes I'll just break up that static nature. And again, I'm really dry seed going into stratification, but I do know that this internal moisture content of this seed is about 30% now, which is exactly what I need for good long-term stratification. And then I'll put this seed directly into my refrigerator, seed refrigerator down here. It's about 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which is perfect for stratification. And then I'll bring that seed out in 30 days. Now, another thing I'm going to do with this Aquilegia, because you'll also hear that this seed doesn't need any pre-treatment, and I found that to be true as well. I can do a bit of a comparison of stratified and unstratified seed and try to determine which is the best way for my particular needs. So on this label I have Aquilegia canadensis listed. I'm going to use this cell tray to do my germination. Have a little bit of peat moss here. Fill this tray with peat moss. Now this is actually a critical step because we want to have the proper density of these cells. So one of the things that I do is a little bit of tamping and then leveling off. So I don't want that seed or that soil to subside greatly when I get this watered in. And try to level that off and be as neat and clean as I can. And then I'll begin to count out my seed for this project. And I'm going to do 3 seeds per cavity, which would be a total of 18 seeds in this tray. and then I will track germination. So one thing I'll just touch, because these seeds are so small, touch my finger, put a little bit of moisture on there, picking up 3 at a time, dropping them in there. On top, I always surface sow seed just like this. If you don't like dirty hands, probably not a good idea to become a horticulturist. But so yeah, there's your 18 seeds, a couple more. Usually I can pick up 3 at a time, and coming up a little bit short here, but there we go. With all those 18 seeds, have that surface sown. And then the last thing I do for seed that needs covered, some seed is sown uncovered, but Aquilegia would like to put a little bit of a covering on it, so I'll use vermiculite for that purpose. Cover that seed. Vermiculite here is a dried clay product to 100 or oven dried to 1,400 degrees Fahrenheit. It makes for a very nice horticultural seed coat covering, or seed covering for germination. It's also used as a soil amendment in terms of drainage, but I don't like it particularly for that purpose. It actually holds more moisture than it does for drainage. And at this point, I have everything labeled. I have my seeds sown, and then I'll do a very soft watering, not to disturb the seed through the watering process, as low as I can get the sink to run, and don't want to disturb or move the seed through that process. So I'm being a little bit sloppy here, but essentially want to keep that seed intact and not move or disturb that through the process. And then I'll put that into the germination room and see what we get. I'll be able to have a direct comparison of stratified versus unstratified seed, which I'll put into sowing in 30 days for that for that stratified Aquilegia canadensis. So those are some of the steps that I use when I begin to do the sowing practices in preparing seed for stratification.